No one lasted a month with Emily. That was what everyone in town said. Rich or poor, powerful or simple, people tried but somehow, they all failed. No one could understand her. No one could handle her. That was until Jake came along. Jake was a regular guy, 25, living in a small apartment in New York. He worked at a marketing firm and lived a simple life. He wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, but he was curious, confident, and always ready for a challenge. That's why, when he first heard about Emily, he couldn't resist. "She's impossible," his friend Mark warned, sipping his coffee. "I don't care what you've heard. No one stays with her for more than a month." Jake laughed. "Impossible? That's exactly why I need to meet her. I want to know what makes her, her." Mark shook his head. "Just don't say I didn't warn you. She's different." Different. That word stuck in Jake's mind. He didn't know if it was a warning or an invitation, but he liked it. Emily wasn't just any woman. She was a millionaire now, but she didn't come from money. She had worked hard, sacrificed, and fought her way to the top. She owned a successful tech company and was known for her sharp mind, her confidence, and, some said, her unbreakable spirit. Jake first saw her at a charity event downtown. She was standing on a small stage, speaking to a crowd about giving back to the community. Her voice was strong but gentle, her eyes focused and full of fire. She smiled at the audience but never once let anyone see what she was thinking. Jake felt drawn to her immediately. There was something magnetic about Emily, something no one could explain. After her speech, people rushed to shake her hand, take photos, and talk to her. But Emily noticed Jake standing in the corner, watching her carefully. She walked straight toward him. "Hi," she said, her voice soft but commanding. "I don't think we've met." "I'm Jake," he replied, trying not to sound nervous. I just wanted to hear your speech. You were amazing." Emily raised an eyebrow. "Amazing? That's what they all say. But do they really understand it?" Jake paused. "Maybe not. But I want to." Her lips curved into a small smile. "Bold. I like that. But let me warn you. I'm not easy. No one lasts with me for long." Jake's curiosity only grew. "Is that a challenge?" Emily looked at him, and for a moment, her eyes seemed to sparkle with amusement. "Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. You'll find out soon enough." Then, just like that, she walked away. Jake stood frozen. He didn't know what had just happened. People around him were laughing, taking selfies, moving on, but Jake felt like he had just been handed a puzzle he couldn't wait to solve. The next day, he received an envelope at his apartment. Inside was a single golden card. It had a handwritten message. "Meet me tomorrow. If you dare." Jake stared at it. His heart raced. His friends would have called it crazy, but Jake couldn't resist. The mystery of Emily called to him like nothing else ever had. The following evening, Jake arrived at a rooftop in downtown Manhattan. The city lights glittered below, and the wind carried a faint smell of rain. Emily was already there, leaning against the railing, her hair blowing gently. She wore a simple but elegant black dress, and her eyes looked right through him. "Welcome," she said, not moving from her spot. "I hope you're ready. 1 month. That's all it takes for most people, to walk away." Jake swallowed but didn't back down. "I'm ready," he said. Emily raised her eyebrow. "We'll see. Most people can't handle me, Jake. They think they can, but they fail. You may too." The next hour passed like a whirlwind. Emily challenged him with questions he never expected. She asked about his dreams, his fears, and even his past mistakes. She teased him, tested his patience, and smiled when he faltered. Jake was confused, frustrated, and completely fascinated all at the same time. As the night went on, Jake began to realize that Emily wasn't just testing him. She was testing herself. She wanted someone who could see past her money, past her power, past the mystery she wore like a shield. She wanted someone real. Then, without warning, she disappeared. One moment she was talking, laughing softly, the next she was gone. On the railing, Jake found another note, glowing under the moonlight. Not everything is as it seems. Are you ready for the truth? Jake's heart pounded. The city below seemed alive, whispering secrets in the night. He didn't know what Emily meant, but he knew one thing: he couldn't walk away. No one lasted a month with Emily. But Jake? He had no intention of walking away. And that's how it all began. Jake couldn't stop thinking about Emily. Her words, her eyes, the way she disappeared on the rooftop, all of it haunted him. Everyone had warned him about her. No one lasts a month. But Jake wasn't like everyone else. He wanted to know the real Emily, the one behind the millionaire mask. The next day, he found another message waiting for him. This time, it was on his phone, with a location and a time. Rooftop. Sunset. Come alone. Are you ready for the challenge? Jake smiled. Challenge. I'm ready. As the sun began to dip behind the skyscrapers, he arrived at the rooftop. Emily was already there, standing near the edge, the city lights reflecting off her eyes. She looked more confident, more alive than he had ever seen. Good. You came, she said simply. Most people don't. Most people back out the moment it gets difficult. But you're still here. Jake shrugged, trying to look casual. I don't give up easily. Emily's lips curved into a small, knowing smile. We'll see. She handed him a glass of wine. Not champagne, not expensive liquor, just a simple glass, like a test. Drink, she said. And tell me, why do you want to be here? Really? Jake looked into her eyes. He could feel her watching him, trying to see inside him. Because I want to understand you. Not your money, not your fame. I want to understand you. Emily's smile faded for a moment. Bold words. Most people say that, but they don't mean it. They fall in love with what I have, not who I am. Jake nodded. I won't be like most people. The wind blew gently as they sat on the rooftop, talking about everything from dreams to fears. Emily asked him questions that made him think deeply, questions no one had ever asked before. Tell me about your biggest failure, she asked suddenly. Jake hesitated. I trusted someone who didn't deserve it. I lost a lot of money because of it. But I learned from it. I became smarter, stronger. Emily's eyes narrowed slightly. And what about love? Ever been hurt? Jake's heart skipped. He looked away for a moment. Yes. I thought someone cared, but they didn't. I gave them everything, and they walked away. I don't trust easily now. Emily studied him. Interesting, she said softly. You're honest. Most people lie to me. They pretend they're perfect. You're real. For a moment, the rooftop was quiet, the city lights twinkling below. Then Emily stood up, her face serious. I have rules, she said. I'm not easy. I'm demanding, unpredictable. I need someone who can handle that. You have 1 month. If you survive, you'll see a side of me no one else has seen. Fail, and you'll be like everyone else. Jake felt a thrill. A month. That was more than enough. I accept, he said, his voice steady. Emily's lips curled into a smile. Good. Then let's start. The next few days were a test. Emily challenged him in ways he never expected. She would disappear for hours, leaving him to figure out where she went and why. She asked impossible questions about his life, his past, and his dreams. She tested his patience with teasing remarks and sudden changes in mood. One evening, she invited him to her office, a massive, modern space filled with computers, charts, and awards. She handed him a task. Plan an event for my company tomorrow. You have 10 hours. If you fail me. Jake gulped but smiled. Challenge accepted. The night was long. He worked tirelessly, trying to meet her impossible standards. Emily watched quietly, sometimes offering small hints, sometimes just staring, seeing if he could handle pressure. By the end of the night, Jake succeeded. Emily leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. Not bad, she said. You might last a week. Jake laughed. A week? That's it? Emily's eyes sparkled. A week is longer than anyone else has lasted. Don't get too confident. The next day, Jake felt the thrill of winning a small battle. But he also felt the weight of Emily's world, the challenges, the intensity, the unpredictability. It was nothing like he had imagined. Then came the evening that would change everything. Emily received a call, her demeanor shifting instantly. Her smile disappeared, her posture stiffened, and her confident air turned tense. Jake watched, confused. Is everything okay? He asked. Emily didn't answer. She ended the call and looked at him. If you can handle this, you might see the real me, she said quietly. Jake's heart raced. Whatever Emily was hiding, he knew this month wouldn't be easy. But he also knew he couldn't walk away. Not now. Not ever. And so, the challenge had begun. No one lasted a month with Emily, but Jake was determined to try. Jake had never met anyone like Emily. Every day with her was a new test, a new challenge. But he was determined. He wanted to understand her, to see the side no one else had ever seen. One afternoon, Emily invited him to her private office again. This time, the air felt heavier, charged with an unspoken tension. Jake could see it in her eyes, the sharp focus, the hidden pain. Jake, Emily began, her voice softer than usual, there's something you should know about me. Jake's curiosity piqued. What is it? Emily hesitated, then sighed. I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always rich, confident, or strong. I had a life before all of this. Jake leaned forward, eager to hear. Tell me. Emily's story unfolded slowly. She had grown up in a small town, struggling with money. Her parents had worked long hours just to keep the family afloat. Emily learned early that the world was harsh, and no one could be relied upon fully. I trusted someone once, she said, her voice trembling slightly. I loved them. I gave them everything. And they left. They betrayed me. That's when I promised myself I would never be weak again. I would work, fight, and build a life where no one could hurt me again. Jake listened silently, feeling the weight of her words. He realized that her toughness, her unpredictability, and even her sharp tongue were shields, defenses built from years of pain. But that's not why no one lasts with me, Emily continued. It's more than my past. It's me. My ambition, my intensity, it overwhelms people. They can't handle it. They leave. Most men see only the money, the power, or the lifestyle. They don't see me. And I don't let them in, not fully. Jake's heart ached for her. He had seen her strength, but he hadn't realized the price she had paid. Emily. I want to see you. Not just the millionaire, not just the strong woman. I want to see you. For a moment, Emily's eyes softened, and she looked at him like no one had ever looked at her before. But then, her phone rang. She answered, and in an instant, her calm demeanor vanished. Jake watched her, confused and a little anxious. He had never seen her like this. She was tense, serious, almost afraid. "It's my business," she said after ending the call, trying to regain her composure. "Things aren't always simple, Jake. My life, it's complicated." Jake nodded, sensing the storm behind her words. He had chosen to step into her world, and now he understood it wasn't just about romance. It was a world of power, ambition, and danger. The next day, Emily decided to test him further. She took him to a charity gala, a luxurious event full of influential people, cameras, and reporters. She watched him carefully, seeing how he handled attention, pressure, and her world. "Most people crumble in a place like this," she said quietly. "They don't know how to act. They don't know what's real and what's fake. Can you?" Jake smiled faintly. "I'll try." Through the night, he navigated conversations, awkward moments, and subtle tests. Emily noticed. "Not bad," she whispered, a small smile forming. "Maybe you will last longer than I expected." But the night took a sharp turn. A man from Emily's past, a former partner who had once tried to sabotage her business, appeared at the gala. He glared at Jake, then at Emily, making it clear he hadn't forgotten old rivalries. Emily stiffened. Jake felt a flicker of fear. Her usually fearless demeanor was shaken. But instead of retreating, Jake stepped closer. He spoke to the man calmly, firmly, without showing fear. Emily watched, astonished. After the man left, she turned to Jake. "I didn't expect that," she admitted. "Most men would have frozen. Most men would have walked away. But you handled it?" Jake shrugged. "I'm not most men." Emily studied him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then she whispered, almost to herself, "Maybe, just maybe, you'll see who I really am." That night, as they walked across the rooftop, the city lights shimmering below, Jake realized something. This wasn't just a challenge. This was a journey through Emily's world, through her past, and through her heart. He had survived tests, challenges, and mysteries. But he knew the hardest part was yet to come. Emily's world wasn't just complicated, it was dangerous, intense, and unpredictable. And if he wanted to last, he would have to understand not just her, but himself as well. No one lasted a month with Emily, but Jake had already lasted longer than anyone else. And that made her pause, even for a moment. For the first time, Emily wondered if maybe, just maybe, she had met someone who could stay. Jake had learned a lot about Emily. He knew her secrets, her strength, and her ambition. He had faced her tests, handled her challenges, and even stepped into her complicated world. But nothing prepared him for what was about to come. One morning, Jake arrived at Emily's office to find her pacing back and forth. Her phone rang constantly, and she seemed more tense than he had ever seen. "Emily, what's going on?" Jake asked, concern rising in his voice. She stopped and looked at him, her eyes sharp and serious. "A crisis. My company, one of my biggest clients, is threatening to pull out. If this deal fails, it could cost millions. I can't afford mistakes." Jake felt the weight of the moment. This was not a simple challenge, it was real, high-stakes pressure. Most people would run from it, but Jake didn't. He stepped closer. "I'll help," he said firmly. "Tell me what I can do." Emily hesitated. No one had ever offered to step into her world so directly. Most men would have panicked, walked away, or been useless. But Jake was different. "Fine," she said. "I need you to manage some communications. Make sure the clients are calm. Keep everything smooth while I handle the negotiations." Jake nodded. It was a lot for someone like him, a simple marketing guy, to handle. But he didn't back down. For hours, he called clients, sent emails, and managed crises. He worked tirelessly, ignoring the stress, proving his loyalty. Meanwhile, Emily handled the negotiations. Jake watched her in action, sharp, confident, brilliant. He admired her even more. But he also noticed the tension, the exhaustion, and the pressure that came with her life. By the evening, the crisis seemed under control. Emily leaned back, her expression unreadable. Not many people could handle this, she admitted quietly. Most men would have collapsed, walked away, or complained. Jake smiled, exhausted but proud. I didn't come here to quit. Emily studied him, a faint smile forming. You might be the first man who won't quit. But there's more. Life isn't just about work or challenges. Sometimes, it's about people who want to hurt you personally. Jake frowned. What do you mean? Before she could answer, a man appeared at her office, one of Emily's ex-partners. He had caused trouble in the past and had a clear grudge. He glared at Jake, then Emily. I see you brought someone new into your world, he sneered. Emily stiffened. Jake felt a flicker of fear, but instead of stepping back, he stood firm. If you have a problem, speak to me calmly. Threats don't work, he said. The ex laughed but realized Jake wasn't intimidated. He left, but the warning was clear. Emily's world was dangerous, and not everyone could survive it. After the encounter, Emily turned to Jake, her expression softening slightly. You see? This is my life. High stakes, danger, and people who want to hurt me. Most men run. Most men fail. Most men don't last. Jake took her hand gently. I won't run. I'm here. For you, with you, whatever comes. For a moment, Emily's tough exterior cracked. She looked at him, her eyes glistening. Maybe you're the one who can last. But there's still one final test. Jake's heart raced. What is it? Emily smiled faintly, almost teasing. It's not about business. It's not about danger. It's about heart. You have to prove that you can handle me, fully. Not just the challenges, the fun, or the excitement. You need to understand me, accept me, and still choose to stay. Jake nodded. I'm ready. The days that followed were tense but beautiful. Emily tested him with her moods, her intensity, and her ambitions. She threw unexpected surprises, confusing challenges, and even moments of jealousy. Jake faced them all, patiently, with care and understanding. But the biggest test came when Emily's ex tried to sabotage her charity gala, threatening her reputation. Jake stepped up again, handling the situation calmly and cleverly, proving that he wasn't just surviving, he was thriving in her world. By the end of the month, Emily finally looked at Jake with something she hadn't shown anyone before: trust, respect, and maybe love. No one lasted a month with me, she whispered one evening, as they stood on the rooftop, the city lights shimmering below. But you might be different. Jake smiled. I told you. I'm not like everyone else. Emily's eyes softened, and for the first time, she let herself be vulnerable. Maybe I'm ready to let someone in. Fully. And that someone might just be you. For the first time in her life, Emily didn't feel alone, and Jake knew that surviving the challenge was only the beginning. The real journey, their journey, was just starting. Jake had survived Emily's tests, faced her world of challenges, and stood by her side through danger, pressure, and uncertainty. But he knew there was still one thing he didn't fully understand: Emily herself. One evening, Emily asked him to meet her at her private rooftop again. The sun was setting, casting gold and pink over the city skyline. She looked different tonight, less guarded, more open, and somehow, softer. Jake, she began, her voice quiet, you've lasted longer than anyone else. You've handled my world, my challenges, my moods, but there's still something I need to show you. Something no one else has seen. Jake's heart raced. I'm ready. Emily led him inside her penthouse, a space that was both elegant and intimate. She stopped in front of a wall of photographs, pictures of her younger self, working in small offices, giving speeches in tiny rooms, and moments of struggle with people who had betrayed her. This, she said, her voice trembling slightly, is my past. The mistakes, the pain, the betrayal, and the hard work that built the life I have now. Jake looked at the photos, seeing the journey of a woman who had fought tooth and nail to rise above every obstacle. Emily. I had no idea it was like this, he said softly. Emily smiled, a small, vulnerable smile. Most people only see the millionaire, the power, the success. But I wanted someone to see me. Really see me. To accept all of this, and still stay. Jake stepped closer. I see you, Emily. All of you. And I wouldn't want it any other way. Her eyes glistened. You're the first person who truly sees me, and the first who has never walked away. Not once. For a moment, silence fell between them. The city lights glittered below, and the world seemed to pause. Emily took a deep breath and said something she hadn't said to anyone before. Jake, no one lasted a month with me. Until now. Jake smiled, his heart swelling. And I'm not leaving. Not now, not ever. Emily laughed softly, a sound full of relief and joy. She took his hand, holding it tightly. I wanted someone who could handle me, my past, my ambitions, my life. Someone who could love me not for what I have, but for who I am. And I think I found that person. Jake felt tears welling in his eyes. I'm here, Emily. Always. Then, Emily revealed the final secret she had been guarding, the one that no one else knew. She wasn't just a millionaire by luck or inheritance. She had built everything herself, from the ground up, with intelligence, courage, and relentless determination. Every deal, every challenge, every late night was her effort, her struggle, her triumph. And now, she said softly, I want to share it with someone who truly understands. Someone who can stand by me, not because of what I have, but because of who I am. That someone is you, Jake. Jake's heart raced. He realized that love with Emily wasn't just about romance, it was about trust, respect, and understanding. It was about standing together through challenges and celebrating victories, big or small. Emily stepped closer, her eyes searching his. Do you want this, Jake? Not just a month, not just a challenge, but everything? My world, my life, my heart. Jake didn't hesitate. Yes, Emily. I want all of it. All of you. A smile spread across Emily's face, radiant and genuine. She leaned in, resting her forehead against his. Then maybe, we can finally begin. A new chapter. Together. Jake hugged her tightly, feeling the weight of the past month lift. He had survived Emily's world, and now, he was ready to build a future with her, stronger, braver, and full of love. The city below glittered like 1,000 stars, reflecting the promise of their future. No one had lasted a month with Emily before, but Jake had. And in doing so, he had discovered not just her heart, but the courage, patience, and love within his own. As the night settled over the skyline, Emily whispered softly, I thought I could never trust anyone, never let anyone in. But you proved me wrong, Jake. You are the one. Jake smiled. And I always will be, Emily. Always. For the first time, Emily felt a peace she had never known. She wasn't just a millionaire, a powerful woman, or a mystery. She was loved truly and completely. and together, they looked toward a future full of possibility, adventure, and a love that could survive anything. No one lasted a month with Emily, until Jake. And maybe, just maybe, this was only the beginning of their story.